Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Alexis Ohanian's Startup Playbook, spotlighting Athlos and rethinking the future of wellness. In the ever-evolving landscape of entrepreneurship, where tech founders and venture capitalists vie to shape the future, Alexis Ohanian, better known to some as the co-founder of Reddit, and to many others as the husband of tennis legend Serena Williams, continues to cut through the noise with a distinct approach. He is not just a tech titan or high-profile investor. He is a storyteller, a builder, and perhaps most importantly, a curator of underdog narratives. One of the latest in his spotlight is Athlos, a wellness-centric startup aiming to reshape how we think about performance, longevity, and the mind-body connection. Athlos is not just a product or a service. It is a philosophy wrapped in the sleek package of modern tech. And as Ohanian continues to shine his digital torch on the brand through his social channels, fireside chats, and investor briefings, it becomes increasingly clear that this is not a typical portfolio company for him. This is personal. This is strategy. This is vision. A founder in the stands and the startup arena. It's difficult to separate Alexis Ohanian, the investor, from Alexis Ohanian, the husband and father. Ever since he stepped away from Reddit's board in 2020 and called for his seat to be filled by a black candidate, a moment that echoed through Silicon Valley, he has embodied a more intentional brand of capitalism. His investment firm, 776, backs companies that reflect a commitment to societal progress, and Athlos fits squarely in that mold. Serena Williams' own legacy of physical mastery, discipline, and mental strength no doubt informs Ohanian's interest in the longevity and performance space. With Athlos, there's a thematic alignment that extends beyond dollar signs. It touches on family, personal evolution, and the democratization of elite-level wellness. Ohanian has been candid in interviews about his desire to ensure that technologies around performance and recovery don't remain the domain of professional athletes or Silicon Valley biohackers. Everyone deserves access to the kind of tools that extend human potential. He said in a recent AMA, Athlos isn't just for the Serena Williamses of the world. It's for all of us. The Athlos ethos. Athlos is built on a simple but powerful proposition. Performance is not just about physical ability. It's about sustainability. Think less Gatorade commercial, more mindful endurance. The brand's ecosystem offers personalized coaching, real-time biometrics, and cutting-edge routines that blend ancient practices with AI-driven precision. From breathwork to cold exposure to stress variability metrics, Athlos is part of a broader wave of wellness startups seeking to optimize the human experience, not just for peak performance in a race, but for peak presence in everyday life. Ohanian has repeatedly praised the startup for its focus on building community and knowledge, rather than just hardware or hype. What excites me most, he tweeted earlier this year, is that Athlos doesn't sell magic. It sells habits, and habits scale. In an age where wellness can quickly veer into elitist self-optimization or influencer-fueled pseudoscience, Athlos seems to be making a concerted effort to ground itself in science and accessibility. Startup insight from the VC frontline. It would be easy to assume that Ohanian's celebrity connections make his path as a venture capitalist easier. But in reality, his edge lies in the same startup DNA that fueled Reddit's scrappy rise in the early 2000s. A deep understanding of internet culture, a knack for storytelling, and a builder's empathy. At tech conferences and startup incubators, Ohanian often stresses one thing. Founders need to understand the why behind their business before worrying about their valuation. Hype dies, he told a room of founders in Miami last year. Purpose doesn't. His support of Athlos reflects that very principle. He hasn't just thrown money at the startup, he's immersed himself in its mission, consistently creating content around its evolution. From Instagram reels showing cryotherapy sessions to in-depth LinkedIn posts analyzing recovery science, Ohanian is functioning less like a passive investor and more like a co-pilot. This playbook of bringing high-leverage visibility, authentic storytelling, and values, first framing to his portfolio companies, is quietly redefining what modern venture capital can look like. In many ways, Ohanian is taking lessons from the creator economy and applying them to the boardroom. A new kind of influence. In a tech culture that often prioritizes blitzscaling and exits, Alexis Ohanian is nurturing something more sustainable. His interest in Athlos also signals a shift in how startups can and should use influence, not through flashy endorsements, but through lived experience and honest dialogue. His social media posts, often tagged with insights into his own routines as a father, husband, and entrepreneur, subtly reinforce Athlos' core message that longevity and performance are not destinations, but daily decisions. It's no coincidence that the vocabulary around Athlos mirrors some of the principles Serena Williams has championed her entire career: resilience, iteration, intentionality. There's a narrative coherence between her post-tennis focus on venture investing, wellness, and mentorship, and Ohanian's own trajectory from Reddit to radical reinvention. Together, they're constructing a shared legacy not just on the court or in Silicon Valley, but in the very infrastructure of human well-being. Where wellness meets Web3, another interesting wrinkle. 776 has also been deeply engaged in the Web3 and decentralized ownership space. While Athlos itself isn't, yet, a blockchain company, Ohanian has teased future integrations of data ownership, where users could have control over how their performance data is used or monetized. Imagine a future where your breathwork data, recovery analytics, and sleep metrics aren't locked in a proprietary silo but available to you, and only shared if you choose to do so, perhaps for health insurance discounts, research collaboration, or personal monetization. In many ways, this can be the most disruptive idea of all, shifting wellness tech from consumption to empowerment, and doing so with the ethical guardrails that Ohanian has been vocal about since his Reddit days. The future of performance. Athlos is still young. It has yet to become a household name, and it faces steep competition in a market increasingly flooded with wearables, wellness apps, and biohacking gurus. But with Alexis Ohanian in its corner, it doesn't have to rely on a traditional playbook. His approach isn't to dominate headlines or crush competitors. It's to cultivate alignment, find meaningful niches, and tell stories that resonate. As he continues to spotlight Athlos, one podcast, tweet, and founder Q&A at a time, he's not just backing a company. He's advocating for a vision of wellness that is intelligent, inclusive, and long-term. And in doing so, he reminds us that the greatest ventures are not always the ones with the flashiest launches, but the ones built slowly, sustainably, and with soul. When Alexis Ohanian walks into a room, he brings the aura of a man who has redefined what it means to be a tech founder in the age of purpose-driven entrepreneurship. While many know him as the co-founder of Reddit and the husband of tennis icon Serena Williams, Ohanian's recent focus is drawing attention for a new reason: Athlos, a rising startup that aims to reshape the way athletes train, connect, and grow, both physically and mentally. In a world increasingly defined by hustle culture and burnout, Athlos is setting a different pace. It is a wellness tech hybrid platform tailored to both amateur and professional athletes, offering a mix of personalized training routines, mental health support, and AI-driven performance tracking. And if Alexis has anything to say about it, and he always does, it won't be long before Athlos becomes a household name, a startup backed by hardened strategy. Ohanian, who founded the venture capital firm 776, has never been shy about putting his money and his voice behind startups that blend innovation with social responsibility. Athlos fits squarely into that mission. Athlos isn't just about performance metrics or gamified workouts. Ohanian explained in a recent interview. It's about creating longevity in sport and in life. It's about sustainable excellence, something I've seen firsthand through Serena. He's not wrong. As the husband of arguably the greatest athlete of all time, Ohanian has had a front-row seat to what peak performance demands: relentless discipline, fierce passion, and a profound understanding of one's physical and mental limits. That insight has become part of his investment thesis. Founders love talking about grit, he says, but I watched Serena redefine it. Now imagine bringing that level of discipline to an app that helps the next generation train smarter, recover faster, and stay motivated longer. The vision behind Athlos. Founded by a trio of former NCAA athletes and sports psychologists, Athlos was designed to address a gaping hole in athlete wellness. It began with a simple question: what happens after the final whistle? Many athletes, especially those not bound for the pros, lose access to high-quality coaching, rehab facilities, and the competitive ecosystem that once gave their training purpose. Athlos fills that void. Users can access personalized coaching plans, track their recovery through wearable integrations, and participate in virtual challenges against other users worldwide. There's even a mentorship feature, allowing former athletes to coach or advise the next wave of talent. Ohanian was an early believer. The moment I saw Athlos' demo, I saw a platform that could change not just sports, but how we think about human potential, he says. Startup Insight. Lessons from the court. Alexis Ohanian is not your average investor. He doesn't just throw capital at problems. He mentors, advocates, and promotes. His social media presence is a strategic megaphone, and lately that megaphone has been echoing one word: Athlos. Visibility is underrated, he says. Startups spend millions trying to get seen. If I believe in your mission, I'll help get it out there, loudly. For Athlos, that visibility has translated into a 300% spike in app downloads since January and several new partnerships with college athletic programs. It's not just hype, it's calculated support. Ohanian often shares startup advice through the lens of sports metaphors, something Athlos' young user base understands. Building a startup is like training for a championship, he shared in a recent LinkedIn post. Every founder is an athlete. You need a routine, a recovery plan, and a coach who tells you when to rest, not just when to push. His approach has inspired thousands of early-stage entrepreneurs who follow him not just for business tips, but for his unapologetically human approach to venture building. Serena and the silent support system. Though she rarely speaks publicly about tech, Serena Williams has been a quiet but powerful force in Alexis' investment journey. As an athlete who also runs her own venture firm, Serena Ventures, her influence looms large in the values Alexis brings to the table. She taught me that who you build for matters just as much as what you build, Ohanian says. Athlos isn't just for pro-level athletes. It's for the overlooked, especially women athletes, who've historically gotten less attention and fewer resources. True to form, Athlos recently launched a women's athlete initiative, focusing on menstrual cycle-informed training plans and mental health resources, a move Ohanian loudly championed on social media. Let's be clear, he tweeted, if your fitness app doesn't account for the needs of half the population, it's broken. Athlos gets it right. Where startups and identity intersect. Ohanian's personal brand has evolved significantly since his Reddit days. He's now an advocate for paid paternity leave, equity in venture capital, and ethical AI. That evolution bleeds into the startups he backs, and Athlos is no exception. He frequently shares stories of his own journey as a father to Olympia, balancing workouts with childcare, and being inspired by Serena's near-superhuman ability to manage performance with grace. These stories become more than just anecdotes. They're strategy. Athlos is about bringing your full self to training, Ohanian explains. Not just the beast mode part. The parent, the partner, the person. This focus on holistic wellness is what sets Athlos apart in a crowded fitness tech market, and Ohanian's voice helps drive that message home. The future of Athlos, and what it means for founders. With Ohanian's backing, Athlos is preparing for a major Series B round. The startup has already secured deals with several NCAA Division I programs, and is in talks with multiple wearable tech companies for seamless integration. But for Alexis, the success of Athlos isn't just about returns. It's about impact. Winning isn't just IPOs and exits anymore, he says. It's about how many lives you change along the way. And changing lives is something Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams know intimately well, from the courts to the boardrooms. Final thoughts. As Athlos rises, powered by its mission and magnified by Alexis Ohanian's influence, it represents more than another fitness app. It's a symbol of a new era where startups are born not just to disrupt, but to elevate, to create space where innovation meets intention, and where the greatest wins are those that help others rise. In the game of business and life, Alexis Ohanian is proving that the best coaches lead not just with strategy, but with heart.